Hello, I am Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Sunjo SPX 3001 pressure washer. So this is a 2030 PSI 1.76 gallon per minute pressure washer. This is an electric pressure washer. This is not a gas-based pressure washer, which is primarily why I got it, because I wanted something quiet that would not run on gasoline because, well, I just didn't want to have to worry about that, and those are noisy as all get out. I do apologize for my filming situation. This is not the ideal place for this. I was originally going to do this in my backyard, but because a deer decided to hang out under my deck, I didn't want to disturb a baby fawn. So here I am trying to do this in my garage with the neighbors all over the place being a little noisier than usual and not the best acoustics. But what we're looking at here is a pressure washer that comes fully assembled, minus a few things, which I'll show you in a moment, that is 33.5 inches tall, with a width of 16.5, so it's not terribly large, and it has a depth of 14.4. This is an electric pressure washer, so it comes with, on the back, an electric cord. This cord is 35 feet in length, and if we come around to the front, you have a high pressure hose that is 20 feet in length. For the most part, that's going to get you what you need. Coming in a little closer now, we'll take a closer look at the Sunjo here. As I said, you have a high pressure retractable hose here. Now, the hose itself does not do like a vacuum cleaner where you pull it and it kind of rewinds itself. You've got a handle here which tucks away, and then you can reel it back up. I will say that this is very stiff in trying to do this, and in fact I end up kind of trying to power my way through this to wind this back up. So don't fool yourself, you're going to pull this completely out and not leave any on here if you're going to be using this. For most people, it's going to be long enough, but I have heard some people say that it is not enough length for them. My tasks are slightly different than yours, probably. So as I mentioned before, you're going to want to make sure that this is completely out, only because if you're trying to pull this out, you're actually going to tip your machine. Even winding it back up, like I said, is not an easy process to do, in that the machine rocks back and forth, and you can see it moves because it's not weighted very well. So you might as well just pull the entire hose out, and then when you're winding it up, the easiest thing to do is actually depressure the entire system and then detach it from the nozzle and then wind it back up that way. Up here you have a place to keep all of your pressure washer heads, and then you've got, we come up here, you've got your soap, your direct, and they'll tell you right there, 0. You've got 15-degree angle, you've got 25, and you've got 40. Each of the heads is a quick release head. So you can just place in place, and it locks in place. It does squirt a little bit if you've been using it. So the head, you can shift left or right to make it flat this way or flat this way. However, if you're actively using it, it locks it in and you have to actually disengage before you can twist it. Other than that, you would have to rotate the entire nozzle in order to adjust your string. The handle itself, not terrible. You do keep the Sunjo in this upright position. You do not lie on its side while working with it or storing it, quite frankly, because I haven't found a need to store it lying down. It takes up very little space. Here, coming down to the bottom, you have your receptacle, which this is an extra attachment that comes with the Sunjo, and I just leaked a little water there, but this will attach itself, and this is where you put the hose input. Now, coming along to the side here, you've got 2 different buttons. You have one that turns the system on and off, and then this one is actually for the soap dispensing, so how much actual soap you want to dispense. So what you do is you put your water hose in, you turn it on, you obviously have this plugged in, and then you power it on, and it sounds like this. So after turning on water and putting up the connector here, you turn it on, which now means it is pressurized. All right, coming across to our other side, we have our pressure washing wand right here, and this did not come fully assembled. You do have to attach your hose extender there. The other things that do not come fully assembled are the catch basin and the holder, so those are just held on by 1 screw a piece. Now the wand here does not flex in any way, shape, or form. This is always going to be the way it is. I have it detached, but right there you have the link for the high pressure section. It does also come with a locking mechanism built into the handle, which I greatly appreciate, because if I'm swapping heads, I want to be able to make sure that I don't accidentally do, activate the trigger and accidentally pressure wash my face. So that just slides right there and becomes part of the handle. I will say that the hosing wand, we'll call it, is kind of heavy after you use it for a while. It's the way it's built. We're going to spin this around so that we can come back to the unit. You see the handle right here, and then you have our large electrical cord right there, and then hidden away underneath, which is kind of aggravating because it does have these which are supposed to hold your electrical cord in place, but they don't really hold the cord in place that well. But you have a 40.6 fluid ounce detergent tank. So if you were going to actually add something to your pressure washer and not just use it with water as a standalone, you can actually add detergent right in there. And here we have the massive electrical plug, which got away from me there. Now, the one problem I found with this is that when you plug this into something, depending on where you plug this in, it's going to take up a lot of wall space. And part of that issue that I find is that because, well, if you're using this outside, chances are you are using this with outside rated plugs, which have to be covered, and that can kind of eat up the space that this can actually utilize. Power consumption wise, it's not too bad. It's, you know, you are using an actual pressure washer, so it's going to chew up a little more electricity than you might think, but it's not terrible. The wheels themselves here are horrible. I'm sorry. They're just plastic. They don't really roll, so I found myself kind of picking it up and moving it around. And when I say picking it up and moving it around, well, I utilized this twice to kind of clean off some concrete that I've been looking at, and it needed to be cleaned because it just looked disgusting since I bought the house. So let's see what that looks like. To the left, my neighbor. To the right, me. That was an hour and a half of scrubbing with a brush and bleach. And this was 15 minutes of using the pressure washer with no detergent in it. So granted, I can go back and do a little better, but for the most part, I didn't have to scrub for an hour and a half. 15 minutes. If I put detergent in and spend a little better time, I probably can get that even cleaner. Alright, so it does a fairly nice job, as you can see there. Noise level, again, it's not terrible. It is recommended that you wear headphones when you operating this machine, but again, it's electric over gas, so it's not as noisy as a gas-powered pressure washer. So here is the big question for the Sunjoe SPX 3001. How much does it cost? Well, depending on where you get this, I've seen it anywhere from $172 to $154. Or if you manage to snag it on a Amazon Lightning deal, I picked it up for about $120, which is the ballpark of what I'm willing to pay for something like this. Now, even if you pick this up and use it only once a season, I still think you're doing pretty good, because if you pay somebody to pressure wash something, they're bringing their own machine, they're using your water, they're using your electricity probably, because they're not going to use gas. And in the long run, by it yourself, you can save some money, or you can loan it out to your neighbors at like 20 bucks a loan, and you can pay yourself back reasonably quickly. Construction-wise, it's not terrible, mostly plastic. So the water goes into the front of the machine, while the electrical cord is in the back. So when you actually have the system fully engaged, you can see you've got to navigate around two different aspects. So the wheels become pretty much useless, and you just grab the handle and pick it up and move it where you need it to go. I can see why it was done, to keep the electric and the water portions as far apart as possible, but it just makes it a little trickier to actually use. You're getting what you pay for. And when I say mostly plastic, even the thing here, this is plastic. I wish that was metal, but it is what it is. All in all, in my usage of it, I've been perfectly happy. So right now, I feel like you can't really go wrong with this if you're looking for a pressure washer to get yourself. So I highly recommend checking it out. Again, if you can get it for $120, it makes it even better. With that said, I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.